If you're watching this video, that means you guys have received our transfers. On this video, I'm actually going to be covering exactly how we heat press our transfers. I'm going to be diving in depth with some tips and tricks on how we get certain heat press transfers done. And if you want to watch to the end, because I'm also going to be talking about some tools that we use that may help you out. Now, you're going to be needing two basic things in order to get this done. We're going to start off with our heat press and, of course, our transfers. Now, the heat press that we're using here is going to be a Geonite 16x20 heat press. There are definitely different heat presses in the market, so find one that works for you. We've tried some inexpensive heat presses from Amazon that have worked great. This is more of an expensive heat press, but it does hold a lot of value. So again, with the measurements here, I have a 16 wide by a 20-inch tall heat press. So I can fit quite a big heat press in width and in height. And then what you're going to be needing next is going to be our heat transfers. I'm going to go ahead and show you guys. So they come in a gang sheet. We ship them in a 24-inch roll. All you need to do is to remove our instructions. Now there's a detailed instruction page where you can follow along in case you want to follow along each step. But I'm going to go ahead and show you guys how we process and get this done. I'm just going to open this sample gang sheet. Now with our gang sheets, there is going to be a color bar that you're going to need to remove. So it's this strip that runs along the transfers. Just grab a scissor, just cut, and just trim that off. I'm going to divide the transfers into two. I'm going to clean up the transfer so that it's nice and straight. So this is an example of the transfer that I'm going to be pressing. Now I'm going to be using a Next Level 3600. This is 100% cotton. Now, before I lay this down, I do want to talk about the heat press and the heat press setting. So I have this set at 300 degrees, which is typically what we press with. If you have different materials like a polyester or a dry fit, you definitely want to start with a lower temperature. But going back to this 100% cotton t-shirt, I'm going to be pressing 300 degrees for 7 seconds on heavy pressure. Let's go ahead and lay the shirt down. The first thing I want to do is I'm going to do a pre-press for 7 seconds. This will help alleviate the moisture in the garment and help the transfer stick better. You can see some steam that dissipate. Now this is a transfer. I'm going to go ahead and lay it down. We typically do about 3 fingers from the top, which is 2.5, 3 inches, depending on the design. I'm going to grab the furthest point of the design and I'm just going to eyeball on the alignment. So I'm going to use my thumbs since I have a lot of room on the side and it's going to align in the middle for what I'm trying to do. Now what I'm going to do next, it's ready. I have it set 300 degrees, 7 seconds. Let's go ahead and press. Okay, I'm going to let it cool. So these are going to be a cold/warm peel. You do want to let it cool for about 15 seconds. Once it cools down, you can go ahead and grab a corner and peel. It will cool down a lot faster if it's out of the heat press. So if you guys are in a rush, you guys will just do a bunch, lay it on the side, come back around, peel it from that point on. But now I'm going to go ahead and after it's cooled down a bit, I'm going to hand touch it and it seems warm. It's not hot anymore. What I'm going to do is come to the corner here and I'm just going to grab a corner and I'm just going to peel. And what you're going to do is grab the same film, you're going to flip it around, and then you're going to go for a second press. And voila. This is the next transfer I'm going to be doing for you guys. The reason why I chose this transfer is because there's a lot of little tiny details and lettering. This becomes a challenge for some people. So I'm going to show you guys some tips and tricks on how to accomplish this. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and pull the shirt all the way down to the back of the heat press. I'm going to make sure that the collar is going to be past where the heat press is at. I like to use this as a reference line so that my transfers are always going to be measured from the top right here. Not only that, but if you are outside of the heat press, you're not going to get any scorch marks on the seam right here. So once it's cleared and it's straight, I'm going to take my transfer. I'm going to go ahead and do about 3 inches from the top. Now I'm going to use my fingers to help me with the guidance here. I can use my thumbs to kind of help adjust, but I'm basically going to do an even 4 fingers on each side. This one, of course, is easier to measure than the previous design. And so I just measure, it's about right. I'm going to go ahead and press. Again, 300 degrees, 7 seconds, heavy pressure. Now the trick that we're going to do here in the tip is that we're going to use a microfiber cloth and we're just going to swipe down on the fine details. Sometimes you have neck tags or a lot of small fonts. You definitely want to help assist with a cloth if you guys are having problems. Another thing to do as well is to test your pressure. So if you don't have enough pressure, that's also going to be a problem. And the cloth is going to help move the heat around and it's going to help you out. So this is something that is a tip for you guys. Now that I've waited about 15 seconds, I'm going to go ahead and peel. So some of the things that you want to keep in mind here is where you're going to be peeling from. Where you're peeling from does help with the transfer. So since there's a bunch of small lettering here, I'm actually going to be choosing the top right corner to peel. This will ensure that I'm peeling from the biggest surface of the transfer, and it's going to help guide the transfer paper off the shirt. So I'm also not going to be peeling up. I'm going to be peeling away from the shirt. So I'm going to go ahead and grab the top right corner here. I'm going to go ahead and angle it and then peel it. Now I'm going to put the transfer paper, flip it around, place the transfer paper right on top of it. And let's go ahead and press for another 7 seconds. All the edges are all good. All the letters are straight. So this is from our sample pack. I'm going to use a graphic from here to show you guys how to heat press a tiny detail. So I'm going to go ahead and cut out the QR code. This is small. It's also very detailed. I'm going to be using a Bella Canvas t-shirt. This is a 6400 brand. Let's go ahead and pre-press. Now, for example, if I'm going to be doing a pocket print, there are times when you're just going to be pressing this down and it's going to lift off with the shirt. So you definitely don't want to do that. In order for you to get this to transfer properly, go ahead and use some heat resistant tape. You can tape both sides down and that should be adequate. Once it's taped down, go ahead and press. The transfer does not lift. Since it's fine details, I'm just going to go ahead and use cloth just to give it a quick wipe. Now that I've waited about 15 seconds, I'm going to go ahead and remove the transfer. Since this is very small and detailed, I'm just going to go ahead and fold the corner in a bit. This allows me to use this kind of like a handle. And I'm going to use one hand to hold down the shirt. I'm going to lift and peel. And ladies and gentlemen, that is scannable. And lastly, I'm going to show you guys how to press on this sweater. Now, these sweaters are a little bit challenging sometimes because of the zipper. And the technique I'm also going to be showing you will allow you to press when there is seams that you have to worry about. So first things first, let's go ahead and lay down this hooded sweater. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is actually grab my heat press pillows. This is a pack that I got from Amazon, and it comes with a variety pack. So you have small stuff for pockets or for areas that are very difficult to reach. You've got some longer ones for the sleeve, some youth or normal t-shirts, and you've got your extra large for some adult shirts. So we're going to go ahead and use this larger one. I'm going to go ahead and place it inside the sweater. Now what this does, it gives you a nice flat surface so that the pressure on the heat press is going to be consistent on the transfer. It acts as a little padding, and it ensures that you're going to get a nice print. It also reduces any of the scorch lines that you get from too much pressure. And again, it allows you to press on items that have, for example, a zipper or a kangaroo pouch. I'm going to go ahead and use one of our samples from our sample pack. I'm just going to do our normal 4 inches down and then 4 across. And then I'm going to center the design. So that's kind of an eyeball quickie on how we place our left chest transfers. Since it's a small transfer, I'm going to use heat resistant tape to keep it in place. Going to double check that everything looks nice and straight one more time. And lastly, you want to make sure that the zipper, especially the one on top, covers and is not going to get jammed within the top of your heat transfer or heat press pallet. So let's go ahead and press. Everything is not. Because you have a heat press pillow, make sure that you accommodate your pressure. Again, for our heat press, usually it's righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, but it's opposite with these heat press. Now that I have it at a good setting, I'm going to go in and press. It's still going up to 7, which is a high, heavy pressure. Now let's go in and let it cool down. Just like the previous transfer, I'm going to grab the corner. I'm going to do a quick fold, grab the tip, use my hand to hold down the sweater, peel. Transfer completely, flip that around, lay it back. Let's go for that second press. And there you have it, guys. Super easy to do. Hope you guys found my tips and tricks helpful for you guys. If you guys have any questions, make sure you reach out to us on social, through our phone number, or even email. We're here to help you guys out. And of course, make sure you guys hit subscribe. We're going to have a lot of new tutorials and a lot of new things coming out. I'll catch you guys on that next one. Thank you.